1033, Chapter 6, Section 5, Solving Rational Equations. This is a lot like back in Chapter 2 when we solved linear equations with fractions. All we're going to do is we're going to get the least common denominator, multiply through on the equation, get rid of the fractions, and then solve the problem. So in this first one, this is example 1, 379, you have 4x over 5 plus 3 over 2 equals 3x over 10. If we look at the denominators 5, 2, and 10, the least common denominator is 10. In other words, that's the smallest number that 5, 2, and 10 will go into evenly. Now, even if you were to get a number larger, you'd still be able to solve it, you just have to reduce it at the end. So you can see in the second step, I've got parentheses because I'm taking 10 over 1. Now remember, it is the least common denominator over 1. You don't want anything in the denominator's place of what you're multiplying by because you want to get rid of the denominator. So if I take 10 over 1 times 4x over 5, hope you see that 4 times 10 is 40, so it's 40x divided by 5, which gives me 8x. If I come over here, 3 times 10 is 30, divided by 2 is 15. Come over here, 30x divided by 10 is 3x. Well, now we just solve it algebraically. I'm going to subtract this 3x over, so I got 5x plus 15 equals 0. Two-step algebra problem. Subtract the 15, divide by 5, x equals negative 3. And that makes sense. Okay. Go to example 2, same page. Okay, now we get variables in there. No biggie, same thing. We're doing the same thing. This is 3 over x minus 21 over 3x equals 5 over 3. We can see that our least common denominator is 3x. So I got 3x over 1. If I multiply here, the x's cancel. 3 times 3 is 9. If I come over here, 3x divided by 3x cancels. It leaves me a minus. And I put parentheses around the x minus 21 because I got to distribute this minus sign to both. So the parentheses are just there to remind me that it's got to be distributed to both. Come over here, the 3's cancel, I get 5x. Distribute this negative, I get 9 minus x plus 21 equals 5x. Here I'm going to add the x over and get 6x. Combine like terms and get 30, divide by 6 and I get x equals 5. So see, the hard part to this is just getting the least common denominator and then multiplying through the whole equation. This is example 4 on page 381. This is 2x over 2x minus 1 plus 1 over x equals 1 over 2x minus 1. We come down here, the least common denominator is x times 2x minus 1 over 1. So if we take this and multiply here, hope you see that the 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1 cancel out. So we get x times 2x, which is 2x squared. If we take this right here and multiply here, the x's cancel, leave us 2x minus 1. If we take this and multiply here, the 2x minus 1's cancel and leave us x. So we get 2x squared plus 2x minus 1 equals x. Subtract this x over. We get 2x squared plus x minus 1. This is a trinomial that factors. Factors into 2x minus 1 times x plus 1. Remember that if we have factors, we can solve them by setting them equal to 0. So I'm going to take 2x minus 1, set it equal to 0, add the 1, divide by 2, I get x equals 1/2. Take x plus 1, set it equal to 0, subtract the 1, I get x equals negative 1. So there's my two solutions. X equals 1/2, x equals negative 1. Don't forget that when you're solving equations, if you factor, all you do is set your factors equal to 0 and solve. Coming over here to example 5. This is on page 381. We have 2x over x minus 3 plus 6 minus 2x over x squared minus 9 equals x over x plus 3. First step. This is difference of squares, so I factored it. X minus 3, x plus 3. I cannot get my least common denominator if I have polynomials that aren't factors, so I got to factor first. As you can see, the least common denominator is x minus 3 times x plus 3. So if I take this and multiply here, the x minus 3's cancel, leaves me 2x times x plus 3. If I take this and multiply here, they both cancel, leaves me 6 minus 2x. If I take this and multiply here, the x plus 3's cancel, and it leaves me x times x minus 3. Distribute, I get 2x squared plus 6x plus 6 minus 2x. Distribute, I get x squared minus 3x. So now I'm going to subtract x squared over, gives me x squared. I'm going to add the 3x over, it gives me 7x. So now I have x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0. There's factors into x plus 6 times x plus 1. Set the factors equal to 0. X plus 6 equals 0. Subtract the 6, I get x equals negative 6. Set x plus 1 equals 0. Solve, I get x equals negative 1. So there's my two solutions. Negative 6, negative 1. Just remember, to factor, make sure everything's been factored on the bottom. Then you can look to find your least common denominator. So again, here's factoring coming in. Look at the factoring in terms of finding your solution on both of these problems here. You've got to be able to factor.